Guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Monica. This is my YouTube channel whereby I talk about immigration stuff, I talk about lifestyle, I talk all things fun stuff, life in Australia and parenting. I talk about all the things you can imagine. And today, guys, I want to talk about something that is very important, and I want to talk about the English requirement for registration in nursing. For you to be registered as a midwife or a nurse in Australia, you have to provide English. You have to show that you're competent in English, speaking, reading, writing, and listening. And there are some countries that are exempted from sitting for an English exam. And these countries are the countries that English is their primary language. That means that's the only language they speak. So these countries include United States of America, Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, South Africa, New Zealand, Ireland. And there's one thing to note. South Africa has been, so there was a sitting there was a review with NMBA, which is Nursing and Midwifery Board of Australia, in 2015, and they were thinking of taking South Africa out of those countries that are exempted, and it's something that they are going to review. Maybe we don't know when, and then we will know if they'll be taken out of the exemption or not. Now, for those countries that I've mentioned, they need to provide something else to show for them to be accepted to actually just go ahead and do the registration without providing English. And this is what the NMBA has specified, that all of your primary English, so if you're from all the countries I've mentioned, you need to have all of your primary and secondary education which was taught and assessed solely in English in a recognized country, or one of the countries I've spoken, tertiary qualifications in the relevant professional discipline which you are relying on to support your eligibility for registration under the national law. That means the tertiary education, you must have a degree or a diploma or a master's in either nursing or midwifery, which were taught and assessed solely in English. It must have been taught and assessed in English. Or you have a combination of secondary education and tertiary qualifications where you have undertaken and satisfactorily completed at least 2 years of your secondary education, which was taught and assessed solely in English. B, tertiary qualifications in the relevant professional discipline, which you are relying on to support your eligibility for registration under the national law, which were taught and assessed solely in English. Or you have undertaken and satisfactorily completed at least 6 years, which is full-time equivalent continuous education, taught and assessed solely in English in any of the recognized countries. So for those people who come from those countries, those are their requirements. Or something else, or you achieve the required minimum score in one of the following English tests. Now, these are the people. So just before I go to the next point, if you're from these countries and you did not learn, if you did not get your education through English, that was not taught in English, then you must now again sit for an English test, just like those people who come from the countries that don't speak English. Now let's continue. Or you achieve the required minimum scores in one of the following English language tests and meet the requirements for the test results. So the test results that are accepted by AHPRA or NMBA are: one is IELTS. So the IELTS academic module with a minimum overall score of 7 and a minimum score of 7 in each of the 4 components, that is listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Note: NMBA has specified we will only accept test results from 1 test sitting or a minimum of 2 test sittings in a 6-month period, only if you achieve a minimum overall score of 7 in each sitting and you achieve a minimum score of 7 in each component across the 2 sittings, and no score in any component of the test is below 6.5. All right, the second English test that they accept is OET, with a minimum score of B in the 4 components, that is listening, reading, writing, and speaking. NMBA has specified something else. Note, we will only accept test results from 1 sitting or a minimum of 2 test sittings in a 6-month period only if you are tested in all 4 components in each sitting and you achieve a minimum score of B in each component across the 2 sittings, and no score in any component of the test is below C. All right, now there's another test that they accept that is called PTE. PTE academic with a minimum score, overall score of 65 and a minimum score of 65 in each of the 4. The other thing is that about the PT academic, you must have a minimum overall of 65 and a minimum score of 65 in each of the 4 communicative skills, that is listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Something else to note, they only accept test results from 1 test sitting or a maximum of 2 test sittings in a 6-month period, only if a minimum overall score of 65 is achieved in each sitting and you achieve a minimum score of 65 in each of the communicative skills across the 2 sittings, and no score in any of the communicative skills is below 58. Now, the other test exam that is accepted is TOEFL IBT. The TOEFL IBT, I'll write the meaning of TOEFL on the screen. With a minimum total score of 94 and the following minimum score in each section of the test: 24 for listening, 24 for reading, 24 for writing, and 27 for writing, and 23 for speaking. Something else to note, they only accept test results from 1 test sitting or a maximum of 2 sittings in a 6-month period. So all the test results are the same. All the tests are the same. They accept 2 test sittings in a 6-month period. Only if a minimum total score of 94 is achieved in each sitting and you achieve a minimum score of 24 for listening, 24 for reading, 27 for writing, and 23 for speaking across the 2 sittings. And no score in any of the sections below is 20 for listening, 19 for reading, 24 for writing, and 20 for speaking. Wow, this is a lot to grasp, but yeah, it's important. NMBA has specified something else regarding the test results, and this is what they have said on their website: that the test results will be accepted if they were obtained within the 2 years before the date you lodge your application for registration. So this is very common. I think most of the people know that your test results are only valid within 2 years. That's what this statement means. Or more than 2 years before the date you lodge your application for registration, if in the period since the test results were obtained you have been in continuous employment as a registered health practitioner in the profession. That is, now we are talking about the nursing and midwifery, which commenced within 12 months of the date of the test in one of the recognized countries where English was the primary language of practice, and you have lodged your application for registration within 12 months of finishing your last period of employment. The other thing is, or more than 2 years before the date you lodge your application for registration, if in the period since the test result was obtained, you have been continuously enrolled in board-approved program of study, which commenced within 12 months of the date of the test, and that undertook subjects in each semester with no break from study apart from the education provider's scheduled holidays, and you lodge your application for registration within 12 months of completing the board-approved program of study. So I think this is self-explanatory. The other thing that you need to know, the exemption, the other exemption that we might talk about. So we talked about one exemption is people who come from countries whereby English is their primary language. The other exemption, those other people that are exempted from providing English is the board may grant an exemption to this standard when you apply for limited registration in the following circumstances. So you might be exempted if you are to perform a demonstration in clinical techniques, to undertake research that involves limited or no patient contact, or to undertake a period of postgraduate study or supervised training, for example, Dental Board of Australia, that only involves no patient contact, while working in an appropriately supported environment that will ensure patient safety is not compromised. The other thing is, conditions will generally apply to these exemptions, which will require a supervision by a registered health practitioner and may also require the use of an interpreter. The board reserves the right at any time to revoke an exemption and or require an applicant to undertake a specified English language test. So they can decide that you're not exempted and therefore you need to undertake the specified English language test. Some more information that has been provided here is that the practitioners who meet this standard on the basis of results from an English language test will be asked to declare that they have continued to use English as their primary language. So you will, those people who are going to be exempted, they'll need to declare that they have continued to use English as their primary language when they apply to move from non-practicing to practicing registration. So the non-practicing registration means there's minimal patient contact. So the other thing is further information regarding the evidence that applicants must provide to board to prove that they meet this standard is set out in the relevant application form. Your test results will be verified independently in the test with the test provider. So you don't need to verify your test. They will verify themselves. The board will verify your test results with the relevant provider of the test. And of course, they have informed you that you're responsible for the cost of English language tests. So that is very normal that you'll pay for your tests. Yeah, that's what they're saying. So basically, this is what the board has specified. And I know let me now say in a layman language, most of us who come from countries we don't speak in English, we require English, and it's not difficult. Sometimes the English looks difficult. It is challenging. I have done this English myself. I've tried IELTS and it didn't work for me. I have said that in another video. And I later on tried PTE, and I've done PTE several times. And to be honest, I found PTE to be a little bit easier. That is my own personal observation. So other people find OET being easier, TOEFL. So whichever works for you. But just remember, you can do it. You can make it. Yes, you can actually do it. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave this video at this. Let me know if you have any questions. This information I have gotten it straight from the AHPRA website. They have this information, all of it written on their website. So if you need further clarification, just head on to their website and read it for yourself. Probably I may not have really touched everything. I have touched what was really important. Let me know what other things you might want me to explain further, And thank you so much, guys. Until there, I'll leave this video at that point. Thank you so much, guys. If you've not subscribed to my channel, kindly consider subscribing. If you've watched until that point, thank you so much for support. May you give this video a thumbs up, share with your friends, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.